hurt people.
100,000,000%. I could not agree with it anymore. But I wasn't doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Like, I was an arsehole, but I was never intentionally going in there. When you said, like, I was aware of the exchange, I genuinely was craving that love. Welcome to the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you unlock your full potential, both mentally and physically, to become the best version of you. Welcome back to another episode of the Prime Life Project podcast. I'm your host, Daniel James, and today I'm joined again by Mr. Mikey. How are we?
Yeah. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you very much.
Are you ready for this?
Oh.
Are you ready?
So let's put it into context for the audience. So me and Mikey have been chatting, obviously, for a while. Like, obviously, I've been on Mikey's podcast and shared my story on Mikey's podcast, not to the depths we're going to go into today, but I've shared my story with Mikey. And for those long-time listeners of the podcast, you will have heard me on episode 1 discuss my story very, very briefly. However, with some of the past guests we've had on since Mikey's come on board, we've gone into some deep stuff. And I felt it was only right that I share my story again in a little bit more detail than before. So this wasn't the day that we were meant to be doing this. We were meant to have a guest on that unfortunately tested positive for COVID last minute. So Mikey stepped in and we're going to do this podcast now. A bit of a caveat to this, I've literally been in therapy this morning discussing my story and now we're going to be talking about my story on air. So it's one of those things where I have no issue talking about this. I'm very open and honest about my story. You guys will hear me on all the episodes. I always share my input, my insight, my stories, but I think it's really important that you guys understand my story a little bit more so that you can connect with me, relate with me, and understand that I am human, I do still struggle, and I've gone through some fucking shit. I'm not just this guy that's got a podcast and thinks he knows everything. So that's not the case at all. So Mikey's actually listened to a workshop I did with my online clients where I shared my story for the first time. So, of all the people in my life, I don't think there'd be anyone else I'd rather trust with my story than you. So no
That's
pressure.
the loveliest thing anyone said to me,
No
mate.
fucking pressure. Absolutely no pressure at all.
Trust is my favourite thing.
So, yeah, where do you want to go with this, Mikey? Where do you want to start with this?
I mean, mate, me and Chrissy, partners in the room, hey up Chrissy over there, we really like you on a friendship level. We always talk about you on the way home. We're like, that was a great podcast. What a great guest and what an amazing story. And we've always had that chat about, I wonder what Dan's like genuine full story background is, because he's to get that much out of a character, you know, with everybody we've had on, like Owen Hunt, Rebecca Dakin, Paul Cope, to be able to get to that core depth that we managed to get to on this podcast, you have to have been through it yourself to some degree. You have to have had the rough, the smooth, the turbulence, the beauty, everything. And that's why we have this constant curiosity and fascination.
Mate, I'm getting fucking awkward already. Oh my God.
No,
yeah.
I, honestly, we do. We chat about it and we go, I'd love to know what it is to its core. How has that transcended? So I think today, like, it would be great to start at point dot and just talk about family growing up, because I reckon there's going to be so many different possible tangents and sides we can go down, but to start from home life, it's very vital, isn't it, for people to recognise what they've grown from and who they've become.
And also with this, I give you complete control over where this conversation goes. So for the audience listening to this, I've got no idea where we're going with this, but it's more because, again, you spend most time with me, realistically, even more than probably my team on a deep level.
Yeah.
Again, because the conversations, you see the behind the scenes of the guests and what we're really talking about. We have a debrief, we have a thing before each episode. So I trust you to take this episode where you want to get what you want to, because if you're asking the questions, very good chance that some of the audience thinking the same thing. So like I said,
100%.
I give you complete permission to go with this wherever you want to go. I've got no idea where we're going. So to sort of pre-frame this, my family, I don't hold anything negative against them. I was literally talking about this in therapy earlier on. My family is absolutely awesome. But people, no matter, even if they've got the best intentions at heart, people don't necessarily know what they're doing, if that makes sense. Yeah. So people act a certain way, but they don't understand how it comes across to other people. So I am the oldest of 4, so I've got 3 younger brothers. Very, very different background all of us have got. I love all my brothers, but we're very, very different. And when it comes to parents having favourites, I know parents say they don't have favourites, but they definitely do have favourites. And I would definitely say that I was the least favourite for no other reason than I was the fuck up. So basically, I was very free thinking. I asked a lot of questions. I just did things that I wanted to do, and it led me down a lot of rabbit holes where I ended up making a shit ton of mistakes. And basically, my brothers must have looked at me and been like, "That is not how to do life." So I look at my brothers, and all my brothers again financially successful. I've got good jobs, like they know what they're doing, they've got their heads screwed on. But with me, it literally only until 28 years old where I basically got my shit together. Up until 28 years old, I literally was just bouncing around, fucking my shit up, making mistakes, sleeping around, doing all horrendous things. And basically, my brothers must have looked at me and been like, what the fuck? So I'm very different to my brothers. The one that's directly below me, he's very, very intellectual, very, very smart. He's a lot more shredded and muscular than me. The one directly below him, again, incredibly smart, very, very intellectual. And then the one below him is very sporty, and he's got a master's degree in sports nutrition as well. So again, he's had some of his studies quoted by some of the top fitness professionals. So again, that's the sort of level we're at. But growing up, my dad, I thought about this the other day when I was driving to Cornwall. So I drove to Cornwall when I was going away, 5-hour drive, and I thought to myself, fuck me, like this is a long drive. And I thought my dad was doing this with 4 of us in the back and my mum. What the fuck? At the same age as me, younger than me, and I thought, how the fuck can I do this? And my dad was clearly working his way up the ladder to, again, become successful, achieve some stuff. So I then put myself in his, I literally was driving, putting myself in his shoes thinking, fucking hell, no wonder that sometimes he was a little bit abrupt when he got home. No wonder he was tired. No wonder, like, sometimes I couldn't tell who was going to walk through the door. Like, I didn't know if he was going to want to talk to me, if he was going to shout, if he was going to be grumpy, if he was going to pine me off. So I just kind of just sort of left him to himself most of the time. And I thought, no wonder, like, because sometimes when I finish working, I'm fucking exhausted. The last thing I'd want to do is go home and have 3 fucking dickheads, or 4 dickheads, fucking vying for my attention. I just want to be quiet and left alone, if that makes sense. And I think he made a lot of sacrifices for us kids growing up. And again, I look back at that and think, okay, so then does he have resentment towards us? Whatever it is, and obviously that generation don't really tend to talk much. So then from there, I also know that I was constantly vying for his attention and his approval. So again, I've known this for a while. The fact of I don't think I've ever really, and again, if my parents are listening to this, they're going to disagree. But they listened to my podcast before, and they didn't enjoy listening to my podcast because I've said some truths. But the truth is the truth, whether you like it or not. So I can't ever remember being said that they're proud of me, even with the podcast. So my mum listened to the podcast. The first thing she did was pick a fault with it because I'd said something she didn't agree with. So there wasn't a, oh, congratulations, I'm really proud of you, like, it sounds amazing, you opened loads of people. It was a negative. So my whole life, I've basically been trying to do things to get validation. So again, you look at the sex addiction I had, validation from people. You look how I treat people, validation, used to treat people, validation. Everything I was doing was to validate my existence as a human being because I didn't fundamentally have that from the people that I wanted it from. So it's only through, again, doing the therapy work and all the other deep-rooted stuff I've done, which is why I know so much about this stuff, is understanding that I didn't really necessarily have my way of being loved as a child. So we've all got different ways of being loved, if that makes sense. So, and people live in different ways. And again, I'm not saying for a single second I was neglected. I wasn't. Again, some of my guests have had horrific upbringings. I had a fucking lovely family home, but that still doesn't mean I didn't get what I needed. Does that make sense? Like, completely. Little Daniel needed some stuff that he didn't get. And again, it sounds very fucking bratish of me, but again, talking to a therapist about it, it's I think a lot of people sometimes have, just as a kid, maybe one thing that they're missing, and it really fucks them up. So for me, one of my love languages I spoke before, like, I love physical touch. Like, if I'm with a girl, like, I just want you to tell me that you love me, like, validate that I'm not going mad, that you actually do feel the same. Quality time, spend time with me, and physical touch. And I didn't get any of those 3. So there's me of how I receive love, and I didn't get them from parents. That's not saying that they're bad in any way, shape or form, but how they show love and how I receive it is very different. Does that make sense?
Completely agree.
So then it creates that sort of barrier. And again, because we're not a very lovely family, we're not very open about talking about feelings. So again, I was then very emotionally fucking numb. So I've had to do a lot of work on dealing with my emotions, because again, I'm a very emotional bloke. I look big and manly and stuff like that, but I fucking cry to movies. Like, mate, listen, behind this harsh exterior, I'm a very, very sensitive person. But again, accepting that has always been hard, because again, as a bloke, you got to be a blokey bloke and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, growing up, nothing wrong with my family in slightest from the outside world, but for me, looking at where I am now, definitely missed some things that made me go and search for them externally in the wrong places.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
How so? Come on.
Like the sexual stuff, for
example.
Just anything really, like even relationships, putting that need to be wanted. Do you know what I mean? Just having someone to be like, I fucking want you. Of course. You're enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, going the whole sex addiction stuff, skipping a few steps in my life. But again, I know exactly where that came from, exactly where that stemmed from. And it's a combination of two things, of a girlfriend when I was 15 years old refusing to sleep with me because I was a virgin. I kind of freaked out. So this is a popular girl at school. So again, at school, I kind of go on tangents anyway, because I know you know this part of the story, so I'm trying to get this out of the way for you. So growing up at school, I got bullied because I had a massive head, had really bad skin, and I was dyslexic, so I had to wear coloured glasses for my dyslexia, so I couldn't read properly. So I was never this popular kid growing up, didn't have a lot of friends, I didn't know where I fit in. So because I was the goalkeeper for the football team, so I could hang around with kind of the popular kids just to play football, but I was also a greb, so I kind of hung with the greb, but then also like Warhammer, and it was just like, so at break time I remember just walking around being very, very lost. Yeah. I didn't know where to be, so I just found myself wandering around by myself.
Just a side note, that do you think you had this eclectic mix of everything because you just wanted some acceptance? So if you put it everywhere, if you had the Warhammer, you had the football, you had all that, there was a lot of possibility of getting noticed by at least somebody.
100%. Well, I didn't really think about it like that, but yeah, potentially. I think it was just I was just trying to do something to fit in.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends at the time, again, he liked the Warhammer and stuff like that, and I remember it very, very clearly. So obviously you've got the popular kids, the footballers, and you've got the other popular kids that are like the weed smokers and all that sort of stuff, like the alternate populars. Yeah. So there's one of the alternate populars that also liked Warhammer. So me and my best mate at the time used to go play Warhammer with him, but no one knew that he played Warhammer. So I remember one day on this break going up to this group of popular nerds, popular alternates, to talk to my mate, and then he was there, and I basically happened to mention about, last night we'd gone to this fucking Warhammer thing. And he sort of looked at me like, we didn't fucking do that. And I was just like, and then my other mate was a bit like, shut the fuck up. So I was just a bit like, oh yeah, no, sorry, no, I was confused. And basically my mate was like, mate, don't fuck him up like that kind of thing. I was like, fuck, what? Like, I thought it was cool. Like, to me, there's me thinking, I'm trying to have a conversation, and he was like, no, it's not cool. I was like, oh, fucking okay, right. So there was that, and then obviously the football and stuff like that. So basically it's me just trying to just fit in wherever I basically could, but not fitting in anywhere. And then one of the popular alternate guys fancied this girl that went to another school. She turned out somehow fancied me. I look back, I've got no idea why she fancied me. That's not me belittling myself, but literally what I had to offer at that stage in my life, just this nerdy, insecure kid that was spotty and just, I don't understand. Anyway, shut me, so we ended up going out, and then we messed around like kids do, and then basically her mum went out to go to Asda or something like that shopping, and she went, right, quickly, let's go. And I'm like, what do you mean let's go? She goes, like, come sleep with me. I was like, what the fuck? So I fucking freaked the fuck out. I was no, I can't. I proper freaked out. And then remember MSN Messenger? Of
course.
Yeah. MSN, like the fucking,
back in day.
Do we need to do? You need to ping up.
Yeah.
On the roof, ping up the little ping when you get a message. So she then broke up with me over MSN Messenger the next day, and then basically had another boyfriend there, and just very outright said, I'm going to go sleep with him because you won't sleep with me.
Was he talking in this chat as well?
No, he was just there. He was just sort of there. It's a bit weird, really. I can picture it as clear as day. Yeah. I can literally see her now. I can see the backdrop. It was on her, like 1 megapixel cameras. And I can literally see it. I can see him. I can see her. Because I know exactly where it was, on top of her balcony. Top of her stairs. You've got a, what's it called? Banister, but what's the top of it? Landing. It's on top of a landing. There you go, Chris.
This is a great game.
What's Daniel thinking? On top of the landing. That's where it was. So I still remember that, and I was like, fuck. So I then made a connection in my head that all attractive girls just like guys that have sex. So then literally for the next 10 years, it was literally 10 years, I was basically on a mission to basically just prove a point of how popular I am by just basically going fucking rails with sex. But then I think you then combine that. So again, I then didn't feel good enough. Yeah. So she was basically saying, you are not good enough. So again, that then, I was like, right, we'll need some validation to feel good enough. She says, you're not good enough because of this.
Little Daniel came back.
Yeah, and he's like, you are not good enough because you won't have sex with me. So all I heard was, you're not good enough because you don't have sex. So like, okay, so I need to be good enough. Okay, I'll be good enough if I have loads of sex. And that's basically what it was. I basically, essentially then, obviously we spoke about you with your drug addiction. Yeah. For me, I was basically abusing my body through sex. Can
I just ask on that front as well? So that was a coping mechanism that you adopted. When you didn't feel that love as a kid, did you have other coping mechanisms that you adopted? Obviously not sex as a kid, but did you overeat or did you undereat, or was there anything then that you ended up doing as a kid to try and cope through that painful experience?
I think it was anger.
Anger.
So me playing football, I was very angry playing football.
Right.
So I held a lot of anger within me. And again, my dad was an angry person. He was never angry towards us. He was angry towards himself.
Yeah.
So again, had a lot of pressure on himself. I think obviously trying to keep the family in what he was doing. So let's say he lost his keys, for example. He would then go fucking nuts, swearing around, trying to find his keys.
Right.
Which is why I swear so much. I swear so much because I was brought up in a household where my dad was swearing all the time. Obviously, you look up to your dad. My dad's swearing. I literally so this is where on this podcast where I swear. I literally swear like it's just another word. Any sort of swear word. The word fucking means nothing to me. It just rolls off. There's no hatred towards it, but that's just how it is. So I think me playing football, that's when I let out a lot of my anger. I was very angry. I think I just walked around my entire life frustrated and angry. And then again, I then just channel that inwards. Like it must have been my fault. So my biggest thing, like I said, for 28 years, my biggest problem was I hated myself. I literally had such a shit relationship with myself. And again, my clients
hit my heart then.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, literally, I hated myself.
Yeah.
I literally, fundamentally, this is one of the deepest things I had to figure out about myself, is I fundamentally hated myself. I did not like who I'd become. I did not like the person that I was being. I just didn't like myself. So this is what I say, you heard me say it before. The first thing you've got to do is like find yourself.
Yeah.
Then you've got to forgive yourself. And then you've got to love yourself. The thing is, I didn't know who I was, but I hated myself. And
was it a proper pivotal moment? Was that a gunpoint moment where you realised, I hate myself?
I don't really think it was something that was a pinpoint moment. I think, so, I'm trying to think of the timescale of where we're at now. So, throughout my entire school career, and moving up until literally 28 years old, I had depressive tendencies.
Right, I get you.
Like, so I was very negative, and I'd have little things that pop into my head, and I just kind of just suppress it, like, what the fuck's that? Like, go jump off a bridge. Shut up, that's weird. Like, get the fuck down. Like, it was just weird little things that pop up about, oh, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, what fucking hell? Like, or, again, I don't deal with rejection very well. So again, if I'd be talking to a girl, and they break up with me, I take that very personally. I could take that very, very personally. But again, it didn't make any sense to me. But I literally all I was doing was, again, I did a workshop on this about the question, how I was talking to myself in my head was very negative. I was asking myself all negative questions. So it was just like, why are you such a piece of shit? Why does she not want you? And then my brain, like Google, would be like, she doesn't want you because you fucking got a big head, because you're spotty, because you're this, because you're that. And that would happen all the time. Like, I literally, the questions I was asking myself were fucking terrible. So I was literally a prisoner of my own thoughts. I literally created this fucking prison of myself for 28 years of self-hatred, of anything that went wrong. I could validate why I deserved it. If that makes sense?
Yeah,
like, it was my fault. It was my fault because I was just a fucking idiot. I was a loser. I was spotty. I was whatever it was. I wasn't good enough at whatever it happened to be. So I was again. It worked out very well when it comes to like football and stuff because it spurred me to go on, and I used it in a very constructive way. But the problem was I had no switch to turn it off.
Yeah, totally. Not in control.
And no, because I wasn't aware. Yeah. So I say to people all the time, like, you've got the real, true, authentic self. The true, and again, I'm a fucking good lad. Like, at my core, I have very good values. I'm a very good person. Like, I fucking, again, the whole thing's everything I do, I literally want to help people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the fucking person that will go and help old ladies across the road when I'm driving and see them. I'll stop. That's me. I still do that now. Like, again, I do a lot of charity work. I just don't talk about it because, you know, it's fucking business. Like, I'm a good fucking person. But what happened was my thoughts and all these beliefs that people had said to me, like my ex-girlfriend, about my teachers, about all these things that subconsciously been fed into me, they'd consumed me. And I genuinely believe that what these other people said about me, this fucking construct they said about who I was, I genuinely believe that was me.
Yeah.
So I was literally living my life not even being me. I wasn't me.
A sense of self, but built up by everybody else.
But it wasn't unless, 100%. So I thought I was what everyone else, I was being what everyone else thought I was.
Yeah, you've got your true, authentic, real self, but you completely negated
It's like
that.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like Spider-Man when Venom in the cartoon when Venom attacks him and then basically Venom takes over Spider-Man. That's essentially how I was walking around. I was walking around. Spider-Man was still in there, but Venom had just taken over.
And Venom was built from everybody else's perspective.
100%. So basically saying like, do you mean no one's going to want you because you're a virgin? Like, do you mean my teacher in history saying I'd never amount to anything in my life?
Yeah.
Do you mean all these things that happened, like just throwaway comments that people would say as kids that probably didn't mean anything to them, but to me it'd fucking cripple me.
Yeah.
And I'd really take it home and take it personally. And again, it's only when I really thought about this, I suffered really badly with anxiety at school, and I didn't understand that it was anxiety literally until about 3 years ago when I was doing all this sort of realising. I basically went to doctors because what would happen is I'd be in a lesson and my throat would close up and I'd be convinced I was going to throw up. Like my mouth would go dry, my palms would go so sweaty, and I'd literally be freaking out. I'd basically be hyperventilating. So I'd run off the toilet, I'd have to splash my face, and I went to the doctor, and they were like, "You're absolutely fine, you're making it up." So I literally convinced I was making this up, but I could feel it in the class coming on, and I'd be freaking out. And it's because I was anxious. But I was anxious all the time because what happened is I'd just be replaying over and over what people thought of me. I was so bothered about what everyone thought of me. And this is before social media. I can't even imagine what kids are going through these days. But I'd always be bothered about what the popular girls thought. Always. I remember being obsessed thinking about what do the girls think of me.
God, you would have really struggled if you were in the time of social media.
Yeah, mate. Honestly,
yeah.
I'm not even joking. That's an understatement.
To go back into the timeline a little then, because I'm really interested in this part, is you got to a certain stage where you needed that validation, so you started sleeping with anybody and everybody. Like, was a bit of a part of that quite fun at a certain stage because you were managing to get with girls, the ego was feeling inflamed a little bit and it was having a good time? Was it just a gradual diminishing depression that was growing, or was it all the way through, this doesn't feel right but I'm going to keep on doing it?
It was literally only until I hit rock bottom that I realised how bad it was.
Right.
So you're completely right. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because obviously as a male you sleep with loads of people, everyone thinks you're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like everyone loves it.
So you did have that sort of glorification of it for a while.
100%. I was thinking, oh fucking hell, because again I was getting what I wanted, I was getting my fix.
Yeah.
But then it's like chasing the dragon.
Yeah.
So the problem is with again, when we heard about the Breck Daking podcast, I'm not going to go into my fucking sexual exploits, but I keep pushing boundaries and pushing, try and chase that same high. And it gets to that one point where nothing's hitting you, and then you sat there and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And you basically fucking depressed as fuck. And then you're looking around. It's only when you're doing that deep work and realising, fucking hell, like I'm not okay. And you realise that actually what I was doing was just fucking abusing myself. And again, along the way, like it sounds fucking bad. But what's the? I've seen it somewhere on my Instagram feeds. That basically sex for most people is just two people using each other for masturbation. That's essentially what it was. There was no thought, feeling. It was just an action, a means to an end, like a handshake.
I mean, there's that. Was there sometimes, because you knew what the exchange was going to be and the female didn't, was there sometimes where they got attached and they thought it was something other and you had to sort of hurt people as well?
100%.
There was that as well.
100 million %. And this is what I'm saying, I look back now, the worst part of this is, I probably can't even tell you.
Yeah.
So the worst thing that happens to me is when I go out and I see someone, let's say use Chrissy's example, let's say the first time I met Chrissy and I kind of recognised her, the first thing that goes through my head is, fuck if I slept with her. And I've had it before. I've gone out with a friend, a female friend of mine that I used to work with, and she's like, oh, these are all my friends. And I sat opposite here and here, and I was like, oh my God, I recognise you two. And I literally just whispered, turned around to my friend and went, I don't know if I've slept with these two. And she's like, what? I said, I recognise these two. I don't know if I've slept with them or not. And she went, are you fucking joking me? I was like, I don't know. So I just literally sat there, really quiet. And then one of them was just like, yeah, so you used to personal train my friend, blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh my God. So I recognised it because I used to personal train her friend.
Right.
Her friend then got me my first public speaking gig. So then obviously I'd met them and then she'd come to the same thing. Right. That's where I recognised them from. Huh. But I genuinely sat there thinking, oh my God, have I slept with these two?
Wow. Can
I not remember this? What do they think of me because I can't remember this? And this literally only happened a year ago.
That's how deep it was. Yeah. Good use of language there.
but that's literally what it was. So it's the point where I was hurting so many people. And it wasn't intentional. And I look back now and it like I said, it's one of the things where, like I said, love yourself, find yourself, forgive yourself. I had to really forgive myself for a lot of the hurt I'd caused.
I love that quote, hurt people.
100 million %. I could not agree with it anymore. But I wasn't doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Like, I was an arsehole, but I was never intentionally going in there. When you said, like, I was aware of the exchange, I genuinely was craving that love. So when I was talking to this girl and I was building it up, I was like, I like this girl. But then what happened is I ended up having sex with them. I'd be like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I couldn't differentiate between sexual desire, like lust, and actually liking someone. But because they were showing me attention, I was like, oh yeah, this is good feeling. This is good feeling. Yeah, let's go with this. And then that's what then pushed me down that rabbit hole, if that makes sense.
And do you think you didn't like them because it was just a characteristics that you weren't into, or because you'd gone numb and made yourself not like them?
The biggest thing for me was this. Like I said, the first thing, find yourself, forgive yourself, love yourself. How can you receive love when you don't know who you are?
Yeah.
So
Impossible.
I didn't know who I was. I thought I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what love was. I didn't love myself. So how can I receive love from anybody? So I thought I wanted this, and I've had this before in the past, where I literally had these perfect people in my life that would give me everything that I wanted, everything. But because I thought I was a piece of shit, I didn't think I deserved it. So you got this person give me everything on paper that I wanted, but I literally hated myself.
Yeah.
So why would I then think I deserved that? I didn't, so I self-sabotage it. And I still hadn't forgiven myself for all the past stuff that I'd done. And I certainly didn't love myself. So the thing for me is like, And now when I'm in a place of, I literally can say that I love myself. I remember the first time that I did a deep meditation, this after meditating for a while, and I literally said to myself, I love you. And I cried. Literally just instantly burst out crying, because it's the first time I'd ever said I love you to myself and meant it, and I burst out crying. But then once you then have that openness of that, I can now receive love, because I fundamentally know who I am. I forgive myself for my past mistakes, because I say to people, I was in survival mode. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to survive. You can't blame yourself for what you did when you're in survival mode, because you're just trying to survive. Now, that doesn't for a single second validate what I did.
No.
Not for a single second. I'm not trying to for a single second say or feel sorry for me. I don't want anyone to feel fucking sorry for me. Like, I fully own it as a piece of shit. I fully own that. But it's understanding why. And I now know why. So I'm not looking to validate it. I'm just saying that this is why. Like, I was in pure survival mode. Yeah. I didn't know any better. And
for those people and the women that you were sleeping with, you know, you believe heavily in the laws of attraction. You know, I'm not saying you're attractive piece of shit. But what I'm saying is they probably needed you in that part of their life as well. They were probably quite malleable, and they were just receiving this love, or seeking this love, or feeling that they needed something.
Well, let's put it this way. How many girls say they don't want a fuckboy?
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, when they see Love Island, Geordie Shore, they sit there frapping about how fucking hot these guys are. They are the epitome of fuckboy.
Yeah.
The epitome. They say that they want these. Yeah, they say they want these nice guys. No, what they want is this fucking rough guy, and be like, oh, I'll change him. Oh, if I just give him a bit of love. No. Like, what? You can't. Like, and this is the thing. Like, all you're doing is confirming to them what they already know.
Yeah.
Like, you've got this fuckboy that's in front of you, and you think, oh, I'll change him. He'll change for me. No, he won't.
Yeah.
And you say, yeah, but he says he's going to change. Has he been to see a therapist? No, he's not bothered about changing them.
Well, you can really talk about this,
yes,
because you've been on that
100%.
side of the fence.
And this now, I will break guy code and tell girls what's going on.
Yeah.
Because if I've got this girl there, and they're like me and I'm a fuckboy, I'm going to change for you. I really care about you. Like, you literally sell them. They're telling you what they want to hear. And all you're doing is just saying, yeah, and then they're just like, oh, yeah, he's going to change me. He's such a nice guy. Yeah, I'm complete change. Yeah. Oh, no, ignore that. No. They're basically trying to gaslight you, convince you that what you're saying didn't happen. No, that's past me. No, the other girls were lying. I'm not like that. It's not really me. I'm a nice person. And then you have sex with them. And you're like, okay, I'm done now. Like, we have to, as a society, stop putting these fuckboys on a level. Yeah. Because, again, I was seeing a girl, and she's like, oh, you're a fuckboy. I'm not a fuckboy. I used to be a fuckboy. Yeah. Okay then. I don't like fuckboys anyway. Okay, cool. Oh, but I love that Scotty D from Geordie Shore.
Nah.
Right. Go to All Saints. Oh, I think you look really nice in this. You think I would look really good in the most fuckboy t-shirt you could possibly give me. And I'm just like, but you said you don't like fuckboys. Yeah. So why are you trying to make me dress like a fuckboy? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and this is literally me now. This isn't 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? It makes no sense to me. Like, and I said this before. Like, when I was a fuckboy, I didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Now I'm not a fuckboy. I get hurt.
I get you.
And again, going through therapy is because I'm vulnerable. People can spot that.
Right.
And the wrong kind of people can spot that. Because I'm open about myself. People can spot that.
That's interesting.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Because you hear in the laws of attraction, you know, you're basically a fuckboy, so you might get girls that are either just seeking that or need that in their lives to change something about their lives. But I like what you've said then as well, you know, you think because you've evolved and you've changed your mentality, all you're going to operate in is a field of people in that elevated state. But actually, people can, what you've just said then, utilize that and use from that. Yeah. So,
and this is why on the dating episode, I can't remember who we had on for that just before you came on the podcast. She says be very careful about opening up to people on dates, right? Because if you open up too soon, the wrong person will latch onto it and they'll use that against you. And this goes for males and females.
Good manipulators.
Yeah, and this is so females think the guys are these horrific things. Let me just tell you that females are just as bad. So guys get bad reps, females are just as bad. And I also want to just caveat this, by the way, to say that when me being a fuckboy, at no point did I ever hurt anybody, like physically or anything like that. It's purely from the sexual thing was always consensual stuff. It was purely from once it finished, I'd just be like, ghost. Yeah. Ghosted you. That's literally how it was. So I wasn't in any way, shape or form manipulating people in any way. It was just purely a case of I did sometimes really genuinely thought I liked these people.
And it can be painful for people, but it's all consensual.
Oh, 100%.
All consensual.
Yeah, 100%.
It's painful to be feeling ghosted
To be used. Yeah, because basically I just used them. I completely used them.
Completely
used them.
Right, mate. I love the honesty. I really love
mate,
the
I feel
honesty.
fucking
So,
I'm sweating a bit here.
So no, I think we've really explored that realm, and I think it's really powerful. So, when was that real moment then, where you went, I'm such a piece of shit, and all I'm doing is causing destruction in people's lives? How did you change that?
So
how did you get out of here?
It came to an ex-girlfriend of mine. I'm not going into too much detail, but essentially she tried to kill me. So again, me being the saviour, again, I was also along this, I basically would be picking girls that were basically more broken than me. So I picked girls that were very clearly broken, and I'd be trying to help them, quote unquote, trying to fix them. And basically, it's the blind leading the blind, because I was completely fucking broken, had no idea what I was trying to do, but I was trying to help these people from, like, I was fucked. I had no fucking self-worth, no self-love, and I'm trying to help these people. I'm like, oh, you're more fucked than me, I'll help you. Blind leading the blind never worked well. So there's one particular girl, met her with her, like, literally what I thought was love at first sight. It wasn't, it was just complete fucking lust. Moved her in with me, got myself a flat, moved her in with me, and long story short, went downhill very, very dramatically, where she tried to kill me. Got the police involved, got her sent to prison, jail. No, where they go overnight. What's that? Jail. You know, forgive me. Holding cell. Stepdad had to come pick her up, and then that was that. And I was then stuck with this flat that I couldn't afford, and I didn't deal with those emotions at all. So basically, I had this girl that I really liked. For the first time ever, I moved in with a girl. This had happened. I've never called the police in my entire life, ever. Never really seen a police officer in my entire life. So there's a police officer rocking at my door. They first of all thought it was me. I was the one who's causing domestic abuse. And I was like, fucking hell, like, no. Listen to your audio back. It was her. That was then so I didn't then deal with that. Typical bloke, didn't deal with it, suppressed that, and then got straight into another relationship and just got very, very heavily manipulated. Like, very, very heavily manipulated. Beyond belief. Like, I can't even comprehend how much I got manipulated and gaslighted in that. And again, because I was completely fucking vulnerable when she just latched onto that.
Did you dive into these? Was it all superficial? Was it all luck based? Why you feel you hurtled into relationships without finding a bit of depth behind it?
Yes. 100%. Because I was a shallow human. So I would literally take girls to the same place.
Yeah.
Every Saturday for a burger. The same place. It's my cheap meal. I'd wear the same outfit. And it was just more like I was just on auto repeat.
Makes it.
So I was basically,
had a horrible
I'm a
feeling
model.
in my stomach then.
I'm a model. I'm a model. I'm a model. And they would love the fact I was a model.
Really?
But that was literally it. I'd just be there like, again, typical footboy, telling them what they wanted to fucking hear.
Yeah.
Because then they'd literally be like, oh, this is my model friend. Oh, this is my... And literally, oh, and I was like, literally just superficial bullshit, just fucking spew it out of you, injecting you with everything you want to hear. Don't really give a fuck about you personality-wise. You're kind of hot. Yeah, cool. That'd be it. There's nothing to it. There was absolutely nothing to it.
Happened.
No. Yeah, that was it. But then there's one particular girl, the one that had to get the police involved in, had this instant... I've literally remember walking into this event. It's called Sexhibition. So Sexhibition is basically like body power, but it's basically full of sex things. It's not seedy in the slightest. It's basically like a fetish event where people come to sell their wares, like burlesque dancers and all that sort of stuff. And I was working with a friend of mine who's a sex therapist. It wasn't Rebecca Dakin. It was our mutual friend. So I walked in, literally, from the other side of the room, I saw her. I turned to my friend and said, I'm going to fucking marry that girl.
Wow.
Like, literally, straight away, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And that was it. I then ended up going to the VIP area and basically stalking her that night. Then that evening, because I didn't drink at that point anyway, she was waiting to get some beer tokens. I had a load of beer tokens. Then we actually had a back and forth exchange, spent the night with her, spent the next night with her, and the night after that, I then drove her from Manchester back to where she lived, which was massively out of my way. We had Sunday dinner together, and I was like, fuck, like head over heels. I was like, I've never felt this way before. In hindsight, it was complete lust. And the problem with this is she had some underlying mental health issues that it's not my place to discuss, but I didn't know anything about mental health at this point, and I never met that person again. Although I moved in with her, I never met that person again.
I get you.
So, and then it was just completely downhill from there. But yeah, it was completely superficial. And it was only after I hit rock bottom after the second time, and after I was really heavily manipulated after that relationship, I just hit rock bottom. And I remember I didn't want to wake up. So I can literally picture my flat now. My flat was a shithole. So you've got to imagine a male living by himself, fucking depressed. I couldn't afford the bills. I didn't want to wake up. So again, I know you and some other guests have said they planned how they went. I never planned on doing anything to leave. I just wanted to leave by not waking up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
I was just praying every night that I wouldn't wake up. That's how it was. And any time I had to wake up to do clients, I remember thinking I had this burning desire inside me. I cannot describe, I don't know if you've ever felt as well, I haven't got a clue, I don't know if it's just me, this burning inside me, like this absolute fire of rage that this person was keeping me awake. So you are fucking keeping me awake. Like, so for this, we were doing this right now and I was depressed in that thing. I've been sat here like, you're fucking keeping me awake. Why the fuck are you keeping me awake? That's all I'll be thinking. And I'll be there training you, but internally I'll be literally saying, why the fuck are you keeping me awake?
Yeah.
And this someone's paying me for fucking money. So subsequently, I destroyed my business because obviously I was a fucking arsehole to be around and literally making it very clear to these people I didn't want to fucking train them. So I destroyed my own business that was very successful at the time. And I basically didn't want to wake up, fucking listen to all the fucking depressing music that you do, just very fucking dark place. I can't remember how long I was there for. I think 3 to 4 months.
Could you put on a mask at all? Like,
yeah,
you managed to have a bit of play.
Yeah, 100%.
In that time.
Yeah, 100%. So there was one friend of mine that knows me, 2 friends of mine that know me throughout all that. And they kind of knew how bad it was, but didn't really let off. But yeah, to the outside world, like I go to family events, and they were fucking hard. Like I'd hardly really talk. I'd basically cancel a lot of the events. I just wouldn't show up. So I'd make an excuse I was ill. I'd always be ill.
Yeah.
I'd always be letting people down. I'd always be cancelling last minute.
But with clients, you actually could
sometimes
have a bit of banter still.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd be putting on this. Yeah, so I basically put on this fucking mask, and
facade.
And basically, of course, like that mask got heavier and heavier, and towards the end, I just couldn't keep it up.
Right.
But yeah, at the start, I put this mask on, knowing full well I was dragging myself there.
You were
but the more I put the act on, the harder it was.
Right.
So then, when I get home, I take the mask off. The more exhausted I was.
Right.
So then it meant it's even harder to put it on the next day and try and keep up that same thing. So the more I was trying to convince everyone I was okay, the harder it got to keep up that facade.
It is quite literally like the film The Mask.
Yes,
when
and it was just getting heavy and heavy. You take it off and you're like, oh, fuck.
Just had the maddest night
and
possible.
just like, fucking just like, then that was it. And yeah, weekends I wouldn't wake up, as in like, I wouldn't get out of bed. Fucking hell. Then this is the hard, although I've spoken about this, obviously not on the steps on the podcast before, I've suppressed a lot of it until obviously I've gone through it to where I'm at now. But I just forgot that part of my life existed. Really, it was just empty. And again, I was still at this time having sex, lots of sex, because the only thing that made me feel something. Literally. So you've got to imagine this guy that's fucking depressed, and it sounds so counterintuitive. This guy that was fucking depressed as fuck. Bearing in mind, I was in the best shape I've ever been in my life. At this point, this was when I was on like front cover magazines. Right. So you got to picture this. I looked fucking unreal. My physical body looked unreal. Right. And I look back now, and I didn't know this at the time. I wasn't walking around egotistically thinking I looked amazing. I didn't think I looked amazing because, again, I say this to clients all the time. If you feel like a piece of shit on the inside, you can look in the mirror and you'll see a piece of shit. So women can relate to this. You can literally put on your nice black dress and you feel fucking beautiful, you feel amazing, and you look in the mirror and think, oh my God, like you just feel sexy, you feel hot, you feel amazing. You can literally have the same black dress. You can literally, something happen, you put the same black dress on, the same day, and because you feel shit, you then think, oh my God, same thing. So it just mirrors what you see. In that period of your life, did your family or close friends or anything ever reciprocate or show you that they were proud of you there? No. No, never. No. Because that, I suppose, when you're on magazines and you're doing X, Y, and Z, for a lot of people who live in that sort of 3G superficial world, for them that is success, isn't it? But they still didn't show you anything. So I've been on Brides magazine, which is the UK's biggest brides magazine, and things on summer. And bizarrely, in my flat, I had by my bookshelf, I had a section of all the things I've been on. So I had the Stuff Man Summers that was there. I had the poster I'd been on that was there. I had the magazine I'd been on, it was there. So I had a little me section. It was almost like, I'm proud of me. Yeah. Even though I kind of really wasn't. Somewhere deep below, I think I was like, good job. Do you know what I mean? But somebody's got to give it me. Yeah, but no, never had that. Right. But yeah, like I said, it just sounded very counterintuitive, the fact of someone was depressed, wanted to get up and go and have sex, but it was literally the only thing that I thought was giving me anything. Well, again, if you had a little bit of that love shown and props and proud, there might have
been a bit of an eye-opening moment for yours? Just a burning of, I feel something here.
But I don't even think so, because I remember very, very clearly when I was on the front cover of this magazine. So these two stunning models. One of them has been in like Boho, like the whatever it is, the clothing brand. Like, she's one of the top models in the UK. She's absolutely stunning. So at this guy's house, this gay couple, they had this amazing house. It's fucking unreal. And it's front cover of this magazine. Like, all this branding was next. I was in the fucking best shape I've been in, and I had to go to this room to basically get changed. So I got changed. I looked in the mirror, and I just started to fucking cry.
Really?
And this girl comes in and goes, "You all right?" I was just like, "Fucking hell, I can't go." I had to be topless, sunglasses, cap on, in these like denim shorts. I was like, I look fucking awful. And she looked at me, and she wasn't saying this. You know, sometimes you can see people saying things just for the sake of saying things. This wasn't this. This was genuinely. She didn't have time to make this. She was like, "You look amazing." Like, she genuinely was like, "You look amazing."
Right.
Still couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
So there's a complete stranger. It's got no reason. She could turn around and be like, "You fucking dickhead. You're getting paid. You've got a fucking job to do. Get the fuck out of there." Like, but she was like, "No, you look amazing." But she said it so genuinely. Didn't hear it. Didn't hear it. So went out, did a photo shoot, put on your fucking fake smile and all that sort of stuff, in the hot tub with these women, in this amazing fucking house. It's fucking awesome. Wow. I looked at the pictures, oh, fucking yeah, I look good. Get home, cried on the way home. So it's like, so even if people were saying to me, "Oh, I'm proud of you," oh, blah, 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 it would have gone deaf ears.
Because it does, while I'm listening, it just sounds like the worst recipe at all, because, you know, mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
To get into that shape, you know, you've got to put in all that graft with nutrition.
If I didn't have
diet.
the gym,
yeah,
probably wouldn't have been it.
Really?
No.
That was your solace?
Yeah. Because I was just like, I've got to maintain this body.
Yeah.
So go get up and train.
But
So
I bet you were exhausted by getting to such a low body fat and so on.
I wasn't even... So at the time, so it wasn't even like I was doing it for like photo shoots. I wasn't necessarily photo shoot lean.
Okay.
So I was consuming a decent amount of calories. I wasn't necessarily that
wasn't
level of
you then.
Yeah. So no,
Right.
I wouldn't say I was depleted in that way.
Because that's when I was listening to it. I really thought, bloody hell, Dan.
No.
You must have been in the worst diet to the worst to the worst that. But you actually, that was
I had a good coach
an
at that
element that stayed in its sort of a whole. It was a good
but as you
part
said, it's a double-edged sword, because like I was going to the gym pushing hard.
Yeah.
Then the more energy I exerted pushing hard, the less I had to do anything else.
Yeah.
Then I had to put the mask on, and that's what it was. It was just literally a recipe for a downward spiral of just misery. And again, every time that I'd have sex with someone, my self-worth would just go down.
Did any of these girls ever notice it in you? Did somebody go, "You're going to be sad for the rest of your life if you carry on like this"? Or did anybody say that to you?
Yeah.
Or did it just fire up?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you just couldn't hear it.
No, I genuinely, I think it's like one or two occasions where, people were like, you just sort of fucking shit out. But again, that's like the equivalent of telling a fat person to stop eating. It's like, it's like, I kind of, at this point I was like, I kind of know I'm not okay. I knew that I wasn't okay, but I didn't think I was depressed. I can't describe it. I just didn't know. Okay, so you might get this as a creative. I'm not sure if anyone else will get this. But there'd be times in my life before this happened, and before I knew anything about mindset, before I knew anything about mental health, before I knew anything about peak performance, where I'd go through my life and just something would happen. I'd be super motivated and determined, and I'd have this drive to do something. For example, I wrote an ebook. Just literally one day I was like, oh, write an ebook, and I literally, bam, smashed it out. And just something else would happen, about, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, bam, go do it. And I literally remember waking up being like, fucking hell, I'm not okay. And I'd be like, it's okay, you'll get it back. Like, just, cause I didn't know what this was. I had no idea what it was. But I was like, you're just feeling a bit shit. You'll be fine. Like, you'll snap out of it. Like, you'll wake up one day and you'll get that drive back. But that was it. But I literally look back now, and I literally, now just talking to you, I literally can picture my room. I can feel how I was feeling. But at the time, I just was trying to convince myself I was okay. Because like, oh, I can't be depressed because I'm getting up. I can't be depressed because I've not planned to kill myself. There's all these like justifications why I couldn't be depressed. I was just like, no, I'll snap out of it. I literally thought one day I'd just wake up and I'd snap out of it. That's genuinely what I thought, and I just didn't.
Right, okay. So then let's go to that point where something had to change.
Yeah.
You had to get to a moment, and it was, right, Dan, you're not going to be here any longer if you don't do something about this now. The sleeping's got to stop with people, X, Y, and Z.
Genuinely, it's hard to pinpoint an exact moment. But again, someone I met that went on dates to be my girlfriend, was the first person that held herself to a standard and kind of almost put me in my place. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then it was only then when I was looking at this person who was really successful, because she was super successful, had a shit together. I think that was when I was a bit like, oh, okay, like I can kind of do something like this-ish. And then I realised, just one day I woke up and I looked at my bank balance and I was like, right, I need money.
Yeah.
I was like, I've just completely isolated myself from everybody. So then I decided to go work in a pub.
Huh, okay.
And that for me was a turning point, making the decision to go and work in a pub.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I literally just kept, when we're talking, it's just come to me. That's the turning point.
Wow.
Because I'd realised that what I'd done was I completely isolated myself. Because I'd shut myself off from friends, family members, and it was just me with myself and the occasional person I'd have sex with. And I was like, I need to socialise. Because by working in a pub, it's going to force me to be happy.
Yeah.
Not just for the hour I'm with the client, but for an entire shift. And I kept thinking, if I keep faking this, I'll make it. So I ended up going to this pub. So again, it's a pub I used to work at when I was younger. So now I'm what, 26?
Yeah.
Ish. This is a pub I used to work at, for a family I used to work at when I was 15 to 20.
Okay.
So I've gone away, missed a successful model, successful business company, and I'm then coming back to work at this pub. So
Ground zero.
you go on zero. Again,
Yeah.
very, very humbling. As soon as I walked in, again, everyone making a big deal out of me. Oh, you're a model. And again, at this point, I was the biggest now. So I've gone from being shredded, but I was now big, muscly, to the point where the shirts didn't fit me. And everyone was like, oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. And I made a very point when I went there, I wanted to keep my head down, because when I worked there previously, that had fueled me sleeping with members of staff. I slept with a lot of members of staff when I used to work there. So I was like, right, this isn't happening. And as soon as I got there was a lady there, a little bit older, she's in her 40s. She saw straight through the bullshit. She just lost her husband, and she saw straight through the fucking bullshit. And I shit you not, she's the one that pretty much saved my life. So I used to give her a lift home because she couldn't drive, and I just ended up opening up and talking to her.
Huh.
And she literally saw through my bullshit. And
I was just going to say that I was wanting to get to is that point we'll both admit we've objectified women in our lives. That's how we saw them, that's how we approached them, that's how we understood them. So I'm feeling this point where you're getting into a pub and you're beginning to go, no, I need to socialise. I want to get to that point where you go, I've stopped seeing women as objects. I started seeing them as people and humans, and I wanted to interact with them. So yeah, tell me about this woman.
So basically she just basically said, like, kind of, you're not okay, sort of shit out. Then she's listened.
Right.
And then the more she listened, the more I started to talk about it. And the more I started to talk about it, the more I realised I wasn't okay. And that sort of was slowly grinding through the gears and basically being like, right, I need to move back home. I need to take the hit on me to go, I need to move back home. So move back home with all this debt. And it's taken all these steps to get myself better and better and better. And then it was when I then got with that girl, ended up going out with her for 2.5 years. That was the moment when I was just like, this is kind of like how a relationship should be.
Yeah.
Because I'd never been in a relationship before. Like, and this sounds bizarre, but she'd be saying stuff and be doing stuff like, how do you not know this? I'd be like, I've never really been in a relationship before.
Right.
So it'd be normal relationship stuff that you would do, but I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck to, like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And she'd be like, what? And literally she had to teach. Oh, mate, I knew you were going to fucking say this. Fuck, can I give you a few examples? Like,
going out on dates?
No, going on dates. So I knew how to go on dates.
Yeah.
It was, fuck's sake, put me on the spot here. It was, stuff like going away for the weekends and stuff like that. I never organised it. It was always her that organised it. But again, I didn't even cross my mind. Little things like that. Planning like a future. I never saw a future. But again, because just little things like I'd never been in that safe environment where it was safe.
And how old was this?
Fucking 28.
Wow.
28, yeah.
Wow.
I'd never been in a relationship.
Okay.
Like a proper relationship.
So this was a
Yeah.
huge.
So just anything, even like birthdays. What the fuck did you get someone for you? But what the fuck did you get someone? Honestly, I can't even describe it. But I just didn't know what to do in a relationship. I just can't describe how little I knew how to be in a relationship. And she was just fucking like, it's like I was a feral animal.
Yeah.
Literally like a feral animal. She's like, are you fucking okay? I was like, and she genuinely, I must have thought I was joking. I was like, I genuinely have never done this before, so I don't really know what to do. I'm trying to think more examples. Like, I can't off the top of my head, but it literally was just fucking bizarre. And then she showed me this thing of like, so she was at a level, I was at my bottom. She then pulled me up to her level, and then I fucking then just once I then started to get me back, I was like, I'm never fucking going back there.
Yeah.
So I just literally just threw myself into learning about things. I started to fucking meditate. I started to fucking gratitude journal. I started to fucking read. I literally gone on these courses to get myself this level, and then it catapulted me where I was like, right, I'm not happy here. I want to go fucking there. Like, so I was just fucking on one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that caused a few issues sometimes because I was so determined to get to this newfound place.
Right.
So like, for example, in the evening, like if I ever stayed over there, I'd be like, right, I'm gonna go meditate. So I literally get out of bed to go fucking meditate in the spare bedroom.
Nice.
And I then read. So she'd be past sleep, and I'd literally be there reading. Yeah. And like on a Sunday, because I couldn't turn my brain off, I was like, right, I'm like, we're gonna go do some work. Like, we're not doing some fucking work. It's a Sunday. I said we're gonna go to. So basically, we'd come to a compromise where we go to Costa for 2 hours.
Okay.
So she'd do some work, I do some work, but I couldn't turn my brain off for that amount of time because I was like, and again, it sounds bizarre, but it's like I didn't want to stop because I was so worried if I stopped, I'd go backwards. And that then became an issue because I was then working so much, being like, if I stop, I'm going to go back to feeling like that.
So you were finding balance, but
I had no balance. Oh, fucking hell, yeah. But I didn't find balance. My trajectory, genuinely, when I was in this space, went from like zero, it was almost fucking vertical because I literally was just like, okay, like what can I do now? What can I do now? This feels good. And literally I was like, so I was socialising again at the pub.
You passed the balance marker at 100 mile an hour. So
and then I kept fucking experimenting the opposite side. Then just threw everything into business. I was like, no, I've got to do this. And like I said, like, how I am now is controlled. I've now controlled it. I've now got complete balance and understand what I do. Before I didn't. I literally was just so like a horse with blinkers, just throwing myself in a negative way. It was almost destructive to the relationship and to me, my health, because I was like, I'm not fucking stopping because I don't want to fucking go backwards. And I literally genuinely thought that if I took a weekend off, I'd wake up on Monday and I'd feel like I did. That's literally where my brain went.
Right, I completely empathise to all of that. Yeah.
And it's like, so I couldn't stop.
Sure.
And it's like, you need to fucking no, don't take a day off. You don't understand. It's like, but you need to. No.
So now, I mean, now you're on your own at the minute, single. Is that correct? Actually?
Single Pringle. You need to put like a Tinder thing come across the bottom. Dan now accepting applications. Application form below.
I'm always giving myself work, I am. But do you feel you could genuinely, with everything you've got going on now and what you know now, be in a healthy relationship from everything you've learned?
Yes. But they have to get me.
Yeah.
So like, you've got Chrissy.
Yeah.
So like, you know where you're going. Again, when Chris was showing me around the farm the other day, after our podcast with Jodie, I was like, literally, fucking ride or die. I'm just like, if I had someone like that gets me, and it's like, right, I see where you're fucking going. Right, let's fucking go. And it will push me to that level, then yeah, 100%. But if they're expecting me to change, to stop, to slow down, want me to change, it's not going to happen. Like, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. You're either jumping on board and you're fucking going to help create something together, or just don't even bother trying to jump on because I ain't got time for that bullshit. Like, I ain't got time for fucking games. I ain't got time for fucking bullshit. It's like, I know exactly where I'm fucking going. You either come on board and you help me fucking create something, or just don't even fucking bother. I'm not going to bother entertaining it.
I think that's such a huge self-awareness you've
100%.
got there, though.
And it's so hard for me to articulate, and this is why this is why I love my guests, because my guests will say something and then I'll be like, and I can throw my nugget in there. But you now asking me for that specific moment, I can't think.
Yeah. It's just a gradual.
It's just a gradual thing. But then it was just like one thing when I was in that safe space, like boom, shot straight up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
And it's like, but all the stuff I then talk about that I've gone through and I've learned. It's like I've learned it about myself. The original reason why I started on a self-development journey was to try and understand my problem with sex, because I thought it was a problem. I genuinely thought it was a problem. Subsequently learned it's not a problem at all. With consenting adults, if no one's getting hurt and everyone knows the situation, there's no issues. The problem was at the time, I was just fucking using it to rub my ego. With where I'm at now, I'm in complete control and I understand what I want. I understand like what I like, what I don't like. So I'm in complete control of it, so it's not an issue. And to hear someone say that was also fucking released, to be like, well, why is it a problem? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, why is it a problem? I was like, because society tells me it's a problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not a problem.
Why is society, just on a tangent point over here, why has it got to that level? Why does it think that is a problem? Is it through the soaps that we're looking at? Is it the meat?
I don't know. Because
this
is the thing, like, sex sells.
Yeah.
So society throws sex left, right and centre.
Well, through our animalistic nature, how our brains operate, our triggers, it knows it.
And then we go and do it, and then somehow we're bad people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's necessarily that great when you really look at it on an emotional connection level that you go around sleeping with loads of people, because it's a very, now I know about energy exchange and stuff like that, like it's a very, you are exchanging a lot of energy with that person. So that's also then the problem as well, what I was doing. I was probably passing on such negativity to these people I was sleeping with, like the energy that I was bringing. But for two people that completely understand what the situation is, completely understand the crack, and they're on a vibrational level I don't think there's an issue with it. But the problem is nowadays, you've got people like me in the past that were so fucking seeking such self-validation. I think that people nowadays are just seeking that validation. Males, females, just self-worth from sex, and they're convincing themselves they like these people, and they don't. It's just lust. They know these people are narcissists. They know these people are pieces of shit. They know these people are fuckboys. They know these people are going to cheat. They know these people are texting. They know all these things, but they just want that validation. And that's all it is. And again, it's just now, just what I said, you just got to turn it around and look back, and you have to do the work.
Yeah.
On yourself first, because as you said earlier on, I was just attracting all this fucking negativity because that's what I was putting out there.
Yeah.
And again, now, don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm not exactly attracted greatness, but that's again because I'm still trying to figure out this vulnerable state that I'm in now, where I don't mind talking to people about my mental health. The fucking podcast said, this is literally my baby, this is my fucking life. Like, you know exactly my plans for this. So I've got no problem coming on here today and being completely fucking vulnerable for 56 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've got no problem on a date if someone asks me, okay, cool, if you want to know, here you go. But I'm then also figuring out the boundaries with that about, right, what probably should I say, what probably should I not say? Do I need to do a bit more research onto this person so I know they're not going to fucking try and abuse me? And does that make sense?
Completely.
So I'm still trying to understand the boundaries of it all. But all I know is I don't want to go back to that place where I'm just emptily doing things for my validation, because I don't need anyone to like me but me.
Yeah.
And as long as my intentions are good, I'm going to fuck up because I'm only human. I'm going to fuck up. Like, I'm 100% going to fuck up. There's going to be times when I go back to my default setting where validation, for example, when something happens, the first thing I'll do, right, phone book, who can I go? But again, I now have the awareness, whoa, what the fuck are you doing, you dickhead? Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you're not that person. Go for a walk, go meditate, go journal, go do poetry.
That doesn't sleep, does it?
No.
That's on now. That's a truth. That's been switched on for life.
Yeah. But it's understanding you want something in that safe place. And this is why, for me, again, in a relationship, communication is so fucking key. Like, you have to be able to communicate. This is what I talk about all the time, communication. I'm such a big believer in communication. Transparency. Because you have to have that transparency with someone. You have to have that, like, here's my triggers, here's what I struggle with. What's yours? What do you struggle with? And then once you've got that thing, cool. You then got to trust that person. They're not going to use that against you. Does that make sense? So if I'm saying to you that, like, if we're text messaging, if you delete a text message, that's a massive trigger for me. If I see this text was deleted, that's a trigger for me. And I articulate that to you. And then you'll then keep doing that. You're deliberately choosing to trigger me.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? But it's understanding, you articulate and communicate that. Obviously, because if someone does that, obviously it's a normal thing. You send a stupid text message, you want to delete it. Okay, I get that. But then once you've articulated that and you try to set your boundaries, okay, then that's not going to fucking fly with me anymore.
Can we fly all the way back to where we started, just for a second?
We can.
I think one of the biggest problems for people is because they haven't looked into their past. They haven't looked where they've grown from and why it was so turbulent, why it was such a struggle. Was it really freeing for you not to just look at what you've grown from and look at the triggers of what your mum implemented, your dad implemented? They give you loads of great aspects, but the ones they didn't give you, you've understood. But something you said brilliantly, you were on the way to Cornwall when you were thinking about your dad. That gave me massive shivers. That sounded so freeing, because you actually didn't just go, woe is me, little kid. What were they going through? What was their experience? Why did they grow from the shit? And then it just passes on. Would you say that's a really vital, beautiful piece of advice for people to look at when you're so angry at family, but don't just stay at anger. look further, look past, and give a bit of compassion to what they went through. Was that really freeing to you?
Yeah, 100%. You need to understand that some people don't understand what the parents have gone through. So when it comes to their parents and stuff like that, it's understanding that if your parents are a certain way, what have they been through? But it's not necessarily their parents. What did their parents go through? So you've got to think, like, it trickles down.
Generations.
Like, how do they receive love? So you've got to think, if your parents don't give you love in a certain way, or stuff's going on, just ask, why was that? So let's say your dad was abusive, or your mum was abusive, whatever it was. What must they have gone through for them to think that's an acceptable way to treat a child? Let alone their child, but a child in general. Their perception of love and how you give love and how you discipline and receive love. Like, I'm doing this, again, you see it on all fucking movies, I'm doing this because I care, I'm doing this because I love you, whatever it is. They will genuinely believe that. But again, I know that I've never experienced anything on that level, but if you can just take a step back and be like, fucking hell, what must they have gone through? You're not forgiving them, and it doesn't validate what they've done at all.
Yeah.
It's still completely fucking valid.
Yeah.
But you're taking a step back being like, fucking hell, poor bastard.
And it takes you out of that victim role then.
Yeah.
Because you've come to a loving side of your nature, and you've gone, I get it, because you didn't get that love. I didn't get that love. We didn't feel loved, and therefore we started seeking it in all the wrong places. Had you gone back a little bit, spoken to your dad, spoken to your mum, do you know why you didn't get love in your family household?
No
why
idea.
was it so uncomfortable?
No idea. And I don't really want to talk about that. Sorry, not like to you.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk to them about that.
No,
So that's something I spoke about in the therapy. It's like, I'm never going to get the answers to that.
I think that's what you just said then, though, is a wicked thing to say. That's awesome, because I suppose me feeling that, I'm not...
You're searching for answers for you. I'm searching for answers for me.
Yeah, of course.
But if they don't think they've done anything wrong...
And everyone listening to this will be... I think 90% of people, maybe more, the main issue stems from family.
Yeah.
A lot of people...
And what they're trying to do, like, you're getting the answers for yourself.
Yeah.
But if they don't understand they fucked up, you're literally... So you think you're amazing... You're going up to that person and being like, I want you to apologise and explain to me why you're a piece of shit. And they're going to be like, excuse you?
Yeah.
Like, look what I did for you. Look what I did. Look what I did. Not understanding that what they did, it's not about what they did, it's about what they didn't do.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So if you're going there, it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, but I gave you a roof over your head. I gave you food. I gave you this. I gave you that. And you're there going like, yeah, but I just wanted a hug. Like, fuck your hug. Like, all you're doing is you're creating issues where it's just like, you're never going to get those answers.
Yeah.
Unless your parents are in that position where they want to discuss it, or you think it's for me. It's like, for me, it is what it is.
There.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, but it stops with me. Like, I'm not going to pass that on. Like, again, I've got no necessarily real intention to have kids, but it's not going to. I'm not going to pass that on to anybody else in my life. I don't want them to feel how I felt.
And it is so nuanced. For anybody listening to this now, you can go and have that conversation. If you go, like, mum or dad, why is it so weird when we hug, or if we're near each other, or if we're showing any love, we pull away? How was granddad? How was grandma? Can I just speak about it? Do you mind talking? That might be an answer for somebody, because then you get this sense of understanding and you can grow from that. Or what you said perfectly there, you can just go, see it, experience it, feel it, and go, this is what it is now. I'm going to break free from it. So that there's so much...
Because I would love to do that. And again, this is something I'm working through at the moment, so I can't give you a definitive answer to that, because that's literally what I'm working through as we speak. Well, kind of as we speak, but that's what I'm working through. So again, it might be a letters wrote or something like that, but to have that conversation in person, I think they'd be like, "What the fuck are you on about?"
Yeah, that's
Do you know what I mean?
your experience.
Yeah. So as you said, everyone's different, everyone's unique. So it's finding out what works for you. And again, when it comes to the podcast, everything we talk about, that's just our experience, that's our guest experience, and again, it's all, you got to take the
context.
Context, and take what you need from the conversation.
Yes.
It's not going to specifically apply to you, but something I've just said today, again, you may never fucking had a sex addiction in your fucking life. You may, nothing I've said, be like, well, that's not, but just take the essence of what I'm saying,
and there's
be
probably
like,
triggers that you've got.
Just little something like, oh, actually, potentially, I understand what he's saying here. That doesn't apply to me, but I understand this, and then you just sort of take it and use that. And that's the beauty of having all the kind of different diverse guests that we've had on, is the fact of, it's essentially the same core message at its complete essence of basically asking for help, making sure that you're loving yourself, forgiving yourself, all that sort of stuff. But it's all said in a different way. Like even Paul Cope and Andy Cope.
Yeah.
Basically, almost the exact same message, completely fucking different spectrums. Like all these guests that we've had on, it's the same sort of stuff. It's just worded different because different people will hear different things. You'll hear, you could listen to the same podcast, but you listen to it in 6 months' time, you'll get something different from it. So I go back and listen to the episodes, I'm like, fucking hell, like I didn't hear that at the time. Bearing in mind, I've been sat there with them on the screen, wherever it is, and I go back and listen to it when after you've edited it, I'm like, oh fuck, I missed that.
Yeah.
And that's me, and I've watched it live.
And I love that, and I think that's great. I suppose that's why I love anecdotes and stories the most, is because, you know, information, it can always differ, but it sometimes feels the same. But stories, like your journey, is going to be... that there'll be similarities between us. There is, in fact, a lot of similarities between us, but it's told in such a different way, and I really like get a buzz from that. Do you know what I mean?
Because like I said, you know, that's obviously what we've covered in the last hour and whatever it is like that's part of the story. Like you had an idea of what you wanted to get out of this episode, and it's, again, you were honing in a lot more on the sexual side of stuff and that sort of area and the mental health side of stuff. There's a lot more other things that obviously but again, we've got so fucking long. You saw it to be 2 hours to explain it before. Like it's one of the things where it's everyone's story fundamentally is the same. As we said before, it will stem from childhood, and there'll be some lack of validation somewhere that people are missing, and it's then how they've expressed that lack as a child, how they've expressed that in teenage and adult life. That's an expression of that lack.
I said it on my podcast with you, and I actually had a really interesting conversation the other day, because I got a lot of envy from my mate Jagger I always talk about, because he had the archetypal family. They're really connected, so loving, so built. So I thought, oh, there's no bad implications from that. There's no triggers that he's got from that. And his bigger brother spoke to me about it at the gym. And it was quite fascinating, though, because I explained that to him. I said, well, you have got this archetypal life, this archetypal family. But he said, mate, there's grass is always greener, though. There's some stuff that we've been... that are grown problem from with that. And, you know, he had a really bad breakup recently. Something went off in his life. And the problem with them all so connected and also loving is they all go down together. And I never thought of that before.
That's interesting, isn't it?
As soon as he got this pain and had all these problems emerge, the family had never dealt with that before, because it was also, you know, natural and flowing, and it all started sinking together in a really horrendous way. Whereas when I go through pain, my mum and dad are oblivious to it because we haven't got that connection and love.
That's what it's like. No one knew I was depressed.
Yeah.
Literally, no one in my family knew that I was depressed.
Yeah.
Until literally a year ago.
Mine had to watch me.
So
go
I was
to the
31.
brink. Yeah.
From 28 to 31.
Yeah.
2 years and didn't have a clue. If this one's going through, it's maybe 27. It's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 5 years. They didn't have a clue. Yeah. Because I hit it that well. And that's the thing we talked about before. This is why, again, when we're talking about the guests, a lot of the guests say, speak to someone. Yeah. Because what helped me? Talking to that girl, that woman. Talking to her was a catalyst for me, opening up, and the more I spoke about it, the more I realised what was going on. It snapped me back to reality. There's power in talking about it, just talking to someone. But again, as we spoke about before, speaking to the right person. It has to be the right person. The person you trust to help you with that information, but just talking. Yeah. Again, with a professional, with a friend, but it has to be someone that you trust. But that's the power in it. Talking and actually reaching out for help, it's not a sign of weakness. And I say this before, like, everything I've gone through has made me strong as fuck, because I now understand my emotions. Yeah. I now get it.
And you should never feel bad for how you're feeling.
No.
That's the most important thing, because, you know, when you hear, oh, I had a bad background, I had a bad life, then people who didn't have that think, oh, but I'm depressed now, so I should have had that bad background and bad life. Do you know?
It's all relative.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all relative.
However you feel is how you feel. And you need to know everybody's different. Everybody's an individual. It doesn't matter if it was a good or bad background, a good or bad experience, upwards, whatever's got you to that point, it can be overcome. And that's the most fundamental thing I feel from this, because I loved your story today and we have a real similarity on it. But for people that are listening to that and go, well, that's nothing like my story, but I'm still hurt, there'll be another reason for your hurt. There'll be another reason for your pain. it's there to get over, it's there to overcome, but you have to sort of go on that journey. It's a whole journey for me. Does that make sense?
100%. As like, people do try and invalidate their own feelings. It's like, no, validate the feelings. Like, they're completely valid. Like, you're feeling something, again, but then just do the work to figure out what it is. People don't like to do the work. But just whatever you do, just don't be the victim. Like I said on that podcast I did on your bus, just don't play the victim. Yeah. Because that will get you absolutely nowhere in life. Spirals. Like I said, you can beat on the victim drum as much as you want, and no matter how valid it is, it's just not going to help you. Only you can take control of your life.
And that's what, from this story today, I've gained a lot from. You are not the victim anymore.
No.
You've completely taken control, said, well, this is some of the reason of why I was on the bad path and the bad train, but I've not let that become a part of the journey anymore.
I've owned it.
Yeah.
I've completely owned it.
Yeah.
And I've accepted it. That's what I'm saying. I've had to actually find myself.
Yeah.
I've had to unpick this story. One of the biggest, weirdest things I did was in a room full of strangers. On the course I went on, there was 10 people. You basically had to go around for like an hour and a half, whatever it was, and basically tell your story. And then they ripped you to shreds. Because you would then tell your story about how you see yourself. And they'd be like, fucking hell, like, that's not, that, do you know what I mean? They'd literally just ripped you fucking shreds. But that then helped me, that week, that helped me find myself, who actually wasn't my core. Then helped me forgive myself. And there's down to me to love myself. But again, it goes back to, you've got to know your story. You have to know. And I know my story. Like, but it doesn't define who I am as a person. And again, it's one of the things where I got asked today, what does success mean to me? And success to me was that I leave the world a better place. That I'll know I'm successful if I've helped people not go through what I went through, which is the whole premise of this podcast. Yeah. So that's now my mission for this, is that I never want someone to feel how I went, like how I felt. So when I was literally, the whole thing about, when I say all the time, I don't want anyone to feel how I felt. That's the whole reason I set this podcast up. So people mentally and physically become the best versions of themselves, and I never want anyone to feel as bad as I felt. That's why I set this up. So that if someone is literally sat there in bed, like I was, and I didn't know there was podcasts. I didn't know there was any help out there. That I would love for someone to be sat there in the situation I was in and listen to the podcast and be like, oh my God, what I'm feeling is completely normal. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that feels like this. It does get better. He says, I've got to talk to someone. Right, I need to go talk to someone. Because if I'd have heard that information at the right time, said in the right way, I'd have probably listened and gone and done it. But at that moment in time, I couldn't hear anything. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's why I do this, because these podcasts are always going to be there. Even long after I'm gone, they're still going to be here. So it will help someone. Yeah. If it just helps one person, mission accomplished. If just that one person, just stop them. The goal is to stop people going down that slope. I don't want people to get to the place where they're in that dark hole. If we can stop them getting there, mission accomplished. If we can help them when they're in that dark place, even better. But then if we can drag them on the other side and drag them out, brilliant. But I'd rather no one get to the bottom, if I'm honest with you. I'd rather people not have to go through what we went through. Yeah. I'd rather no one ever feel that pain of just feeling like the biggest piece of shit on the planet and not wanting to wake up, because it's not a nice feeling.
Mate, 100%. I had that last week. But somebody messaged me after I put a podcast out, and it was a really thought out long message. And he just said, dude, you don't understand how much I needed that podcast in this moment, da-da-da-da. And I thought it was about the podcast I just put out. So I said, oh, he's a great guest, wasn't he? Absolutely fantastic. And I said, thank you. And I mentioned the guy's name, if he wants to meet him. And he says, oh, no, it wasn't that at all. And it was one I'd done 2 years ago. Literally, like one of the first podcasts I'd done on Words of Wisdom podcast I do with my mate Zach. But it was about depression. And I couldn't believe it. I got really overwhelmed by it. I was going, oh, this is so worth what we're doing. You never know when they're going to accidentally stumble on that desperation bit of gold.
And that's what it is. Like, literally every single episode, I'm like, right, help with someone today. How can I help? Like, what can we do? So today, I'm going to help
them today, for tomorrow.
So today, like I said, I didn't have a clue where we were going with this. This wasn't scripted. We've got literally, we just found out we're doing this like an hour before we even recorded, like 30 minutes before we recorded. Yeah. So I've literally shared my story.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. Like, I've enjoyed it. I know I've got to get to London now, but I've really enjoyed that.
No.
How do you feel from it?
Mate.
Knackered today.
Mate, But like I said, it's one of the things where in another year's time, I'll probably do another one of these. Yeah. And go even deeper again, because again, I'm still unpicking layers. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I don't ever claim to be. And the reason why, again, someone's wondering, why are you having therapy? It's purely because at this stage in my life where I'm at right now, where we're going to take this podcast, where we're going with it, where I'm taking my business, I don't want to be anything holding me back.
Mm.
I don't want to be anything that I potentially missed. So I'm trying to tap into my subconscious, which I know how to do, but I can't do it myself.
Mm.
So that's the kind of therapy that I'm doing.
It's what a hero does.
There we go. But it's understanding that I've really got to where we're going.
Yeah.
I need to be on my A game. I can't have anything holding me back. So that's why I'm really trying to unroot anything that could. Yeah, because you know where we're going, and like I said, a few people know. So that's why now's the right time to do it. So yeah, like I said, it just happens I had therapy this morning, and it just comes straight here and doing this. But it's yeah, like I said, I hope someone took some value from today's episode. If you did, if it made you think, if it helped change your perspective on something, just give us a like, give us a share, stick it on social medias, tell a friend, because that's what this is here for. Like, we're growing this podcast organically. Me and Mikey, again, on the same mission, just to help you guys in any way we possibly can. We've got some amazing guest lines up again coming in the future. Like, we're going to carry on growing. And again, it's all thanks to you guys that share the episode. So again, if today was helpful in any way, shape or form, please share it with a friend. Tag us on social media. Do what you guys got to do. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Any final words, Mikey?
It's been a pleasure.
No, as always. Where can people find out more about you?
Rhythmical Mike or the Old Farm Bus.
Awesome. And mine's Daniel_James_fitness. Enjoy London, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Big love, guys. Peace out.